Welcome to Megan's Minute. I'm your host, Megan Lavin, owner of the food allergy recipe site, allergy-awesomeness.com. And together with Allergic Living, I discuss topics that affect those living with food allergies, like my family. For this month's topic, we're going to be discussing how to have a food storage with food allergies. If COVID-19 taught me anything, it was the importance of food storage. In fact, 2 years later, and I'm still noticing shortages on products that we need that are frequently in and out of stock. I felt horrible when COVID started, as I'm sure many of you did. I felt like I was caught with my pants down. We really weren't prepared, and I had anxiety over how I would feed my sons with multiple food allergies. I'd wander the aisles early in the morning to try to get there first and just be dismayed when the safe brands were completely gone and shelves were empty. I vowed I would never be that vulnerable again. I know it's not as fancy to spend money on a food storage versus like a new toy, but the peace of mind it gives me is invaluable. I've always been taught to have a food storage, and I've always believed in the importance of food storage. Maybe it's because of growing up in Idaho, but not only is it helpful in dire situations like a global pandemic, but it's also helpful for out-of-stock problems, loss of a job, natural disaster, and even if you're simply just sick and you can't get to the store for a while. I wouldn't say I'm a pro. There are definitely preppers out there that have it down way more than I do, but a lot of you have asked, and I think it's important to show not just the end result with people who have it all figured out, but even the people who are in the middle that have been doing it a while but maybe aren't professionals, because sometimes to me that can be even more inspiring, because sometimes those people can be overwhelming to look at and think, I'll never get there. So if I can do it, you can do it. I can't tell you how many times my food storage has come in handy just because we often don't have another substitute. We can't just swap brands and different types of food as easily as people without food allergies can. Knowing that I have a back stock of things my allergic boys need really gives me comfort. And even though I would consider myself a grocery list and meal planner pro, in fact, you can see my videos on this same channel about that, there are still oversights or things that I miss, and it's just so nice to run downstairs, grab what I'm out of, instead of having to stop in the middle of a recipe and run all the way to the grocery store. Have I convinced you yet? Another great reason to keep food storage: price increases. Prices have gone crazy high because of inflation, and it's nice to know that I bought some of these items when the prices were lower. One thing I've had to realize the hard way that I've done wrong is that I have to store items in an organized fashion. I'm not necessarily Instagram worthy, as you'll see, with like printed labels and such, but I used to just try and squeeze as many items as I could on a shelf, thinking I'll be able to find it later. I think it was that frenzy left over from COVID-19, and I realized that they were not organized like newest to oldest, and if I didn't take the time to rotate through every time I bought new items, that even though my food storage would seem full, I was actually wasting items because I wouldn't use them in an organized manner. I'd finally get to a package, look at the date, and I was like, oh, I can't use it. So now I try to face things forward and just budget that time for when I go grocery shopping. I know afterwards I'm going to immediately put things in order. I'm going to put newest to oldest, and that way, even if I'm not holding as many things on the shelf, I know I'm not creating food waste because it's a system that works for us. Let me give you some groups of things I try to keep on hand at all times. I'll post a comprehensive list on the corresponding article on Allergic Living, which you can find a link to in the description. Now, think about it. Food storage doesn't always just mean food. We try to keep vitamins, old EpiPens, extra asthma medications, antihistamines, Tylenol, Band-Aids, alcohol, and all those other first aid important items. Then think about things like candles, matches, flashlights, batteries. You have to think worst case scenario. If the power goes out, you gotta be able to see to cook. And it gets dark here in Idaho during the winter for many hours of the day. And speaking of cooking, we're currently saving up for a generator so that we can plug in like an Instant Pot or a microwave to cook with, or even in the summer months to plug in our fridge or freezer to keep food from spoiling. Another source for cooking food is a great option. We have just our grill backyard for summertime, but we also keep an extra propane tank should we have to cook outdoors for some reason. And don't forget about paper products. If your water is out, or even if you've ever had plumbing issues or kitchen remodels, it's really great to have disposable plates, cups, utensils so you don't have to wash up. Speaking of washing up, I like to keep extra cleaning supplies on hand as well. Everything from laundry soap to hand soap to bleach wipes. Remember how fast those things went out during the pandemic? We also have an extra freezer in our garage. I used to have one of those really deep chest ones, but again, I felt like I could not keep it organized. And food was stockpiling in the bottom and I was never getting down to it. So I bit the bullet and I switched to an upright one and I love it. I can see exactly what I have when I open it. I have a shelf for like safe tortillas, bread, meats, ice cream treats. I do have kids after all, and a husband that loves ice cream, extra safe butter, convenience items like safe pizza. Otherwise, as far as like our actual food pantry that's shelf stable, get what you can actually eat. You know, you want to know an exact list, but what do you eat? What do you have snacks? Get those things when they're on bulk or on sale. Don't just go buy a bunch of protein powder because it sounds good if you're not going to actually eat it up. We have things like cereals, instant noodle packets from Thai Kitchen, sun butter, canned beans, vegetables, fruits, applesauce, baking items like spices, oils, lots and lots of rice and beans, extra flour, quinoa, lentils, pasta, mac and cheese, condiments to make things taste good, honey, and so forth. I know it can feel daunting and expensive, so be smart. You don't need to go into debt. Just build up slowly. Even the amount I have now has taken me quite a bit of time. And I try and keep my shelves full, so once we've reached that goal, then every week I check when I'm making my grocery list and I replenish what we've used, so that way it's constantly full and it doesn't get down. Then I have to do a big purchase and get down. Just buy 1 box, 2 cans at a time. Think of things like your tax refund or work bonus to jumpstart your food storage. We even use some of the COVID relief checks we got here in the USA to help afford some of it. So be creative. Think of at least one item every time you grocery shop that you can get. That makes it way more manageable. And don't forget water. It's crazy the amount you need when you consider washing dishes, cleaning, drinking, especially for a family of 6 like mine. I try to pick up a gallon or 2 of water every once in a while. I also try to have those special water straws that you can purify water as you drink it should a real emergency hit. Do you guys remember like a year or 2 ago when Texas had that cold front and they lost power and it was freezing? I remember reading, what would you do? I don't even know what I would have done. And they said to put a tent in a living room to sleep in because it conserves all that heat. So, plus we are in an outdoorsy state, so I bought a tent and a sleeping bag for each of us. So we had extra shelter. And don't fret if you don't have an unfinished section of your basement like we do to put the shelves and hold all this. We have lived in so many small apartments, and even having some of your essentials in your closet or under your bed or in your garage can be so helpful. Where there's a will, there is a way. Food storage takes planning and consideration, but I think it's worth it. Let me know in the comments what else you guys like to keep on hand so that others can learn from you as well. We'll see you next month, and don't forget that there are past videos covering everything from working with your child's school, safe trick-or-treating, and even attending large family gatherings with food allergies. Take care, guys. See you next time.